Hello, Dylan here at Red Star. Today I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to get started with one of these basic PAs or small mixing consoles like what we have here in our rehearsal spaces. So let's get started. So when you first come into the space, before you even turn anything on, the first thing we want to do is reset the PA back to a neutral position for us to start from. So all of your faders come back down to 0, everything pushed down to the bottom. Your channel EQ, the three knobs here should all be 50-50, as well as our microphone gain can start at a 50% position, and our graphic EQ over to the right here should be completely flat. That's a really good place for us to start. So now that I've reset my PA back to a neutral position or a good position for us to start from, I'm going to plug my vocal mic into channel 1. I've switched the PA on now. I'm going to bring the master volume up to 0. And the master can just sit there on 0. You shouldn't really need to change that. You can control the volume of your individual channels using the channel faders. So I'm going to bring up the channel fader a little bit and get just a little bit of volume happening now. And that sounds good. So that's a really good position to start from, and then you can adjust your EQ accordingly. Just a couple of other quick tips. If you're still not getting any volume out of the PA, you might want to check your channel mute button. That's a very common trap. Make sure that that's not pressed in. Another thing that's worth trying is over here on your graphic EQ. If you are just using your PA for vocals, take this bottom band and kill it completely. That is bass frequencies that the human voice doesn't even use, and you may find that killing that will clean up your sound a little bit, so give that a go. Another thing worth mentioning is that the gain knob up here should not be used as a volume control for your microphone or for your channel. That's to do with sensitivity. So you want that to be set at a point where you're getting a nice, clear, strong signal through the microphone and you're not having to overexert, but at the same time, you don't want it to be overly sensitive where it's picking too much up of everything else that's going on in the room. Then you're going to get issues with feedback. Your channel fader should be used to control the volume, and the gain knob should be used to control the sensitivity. As the vocalist, you want to be thinking very hard about where you're standing in the room. So the basic rule is that you don't want sound coming out of the PA speakers going directly into the microphone. That's going to create a feedback loop and you're going to have all kinds of trouble. So you want to have the sound coming out of the speakers and the microphone facing away. So like this, facing the speakers with the sound coming at you. For this room, I would be standing with my back to the opposite wall facing the speakers. If you're using a fold back, I would recommend running that out of the auxiliary sends and into the back of the speaker. Then you can use the auxiliary send knob on the individual channel to send sound from that channel to the speaker, and you can control how much of it you're sending to that speaker with that knob. So hopefully that's given you a good head start for when you do come into a space like this and you maybe have no idea what you're doing or you haven't used a PA before. If you do find that you get a really great sound and you're not confident about being able to replicate it, just take a picture of it on your phone, bring it to your next session, and you can just dial in the same settings from the picture. And happy trails.